Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo along with Eyewitness News analyst Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio. Obviously, the big talk is still the government shutdown. Whether, an agreement is reached, we are taping this on Wednesday, General, and right now they're close to an agreement. But if you're looking at it, the most high-profile casualty in the entire thing has been the shutdown of national parks, especially the World War II Memorial. Are you surprised that Americans are clearly upset about this issue?
I'm not surprised that they are upset about it, but I'm also not surprised that I think this was a calculated move on the part of the administration to put out there the significance and to get more attention by the majority of people who take for granted the memorials, as an example. So this was one area I believe that was specifically targeted to make an impact, to demonstrate that this is going to impact all of the Americans, especially the World War II, which is a real tough area to address no matter what.
At least 5 states reopened parks. The Grand Canyon was reopened. They did it with either state or local money. It was surprising that more cities and towns or more states did not do that.
You're right, but I think it had much to do with the resourcing available. Those cities and towns perhaps had a few extra dollars or maybe had a fundraiser to justify that. But for the most part, most towns and cities and states are in a poor financial situation to begin with. So taking on some additional responsibility, I think, probably didn't enter into that particular scenario.
Going under the radar, General, the military cuts. You don't hear too much about them right now.
You don't, and we've often talked about the perfect storm, the closing of the government shutdown, the debt ceiling, and certainly the Defense Department took a hit several months ago, which will continue to be the case. So you have a 3-part perfect storm that impacted the military. The sequestration will continue. No one's talking about that, but it will continue. The budget cuts will continue. The only thing that is different, perhaps, or will be different, should they pass legislation for it, is that the debt ceiling will be removed and they'll be able to continue to pay soldiers and go back to training. But those talks will continue. In my opinion, I believe that they'll continue to be part of any future discussion on long-term budget.
Well, all training, including Rhode Island National Guard training, kick in right away once the deal is made?
Yes. The sad part about it is that they're not able to make up some training ability or particular sites that may have been available at that time because there's a rotation of units using the same facilities. So they may have missed out this particular training cycle. They'll have to pick it up next training year, which is basically 1 October to 30 September.
Time's gone by. 2014 is almost here. We've talked about this for a long time, and it's now here with the military forces being pulled out of Afghanistan. What do you make with Secretary of State John Kerry and President Karzai meeting last week?
This was overshadowed significantly by the talks and the debt ceiling and the government shutting down. But as we go through this whole thing, there were talks, as you just pointed out, between Kerry and Karzai. And what was not being covered adequately, I think, is the possibility that we will keep troops in Afghanistan beyond 2014. Unlike the administration was talking about even this past year, all troops would be removed in 2014. Now there is discussion taking place which hasn't really been adequately vented in the media because of all that's been going on in the last
Well, General, this is not something that can happen overnight. They're probably looking at July 1st. When does the final decision have to be in place at that point?
Well, I think you really need to address the fiscal year, once again, which starts 1 July 2014. And in some cases, but 1 October, the fiscal year starts federal fiscal year, and that has much to do with how you give and fund the different and several branches as to what their missions are going to be for the next federal fiscal year.
And finally, General, how has national security been affected by all of this?
I do believe it's been affected, not significantly, but enough that we've had to change our priority and stop particular programs and studies that were going on to deal with terrorism. As we saw last week, something that happened in 2 attacks. That didn't take place last week. It took months ago, if not more. So whatever we did and stopped doing will take that much to catch up with.
As always, thank you for your thoughts, General, and thanks for watching.